once you know sort of, coming together, it's sort of like a mini brainstorm about your life, if you will. Next is you come up with, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I want to do going forward. And by the way, this is all done before you even write your resume. And you see that if you saw the graphic. But the next step is what I call developing a professional positioning statement. This is sort of, why are you here? Why are you good? What's your professional headline? I don't know about you guys, but I've actually been asked that in a couple interviews. I'm a marketer though, so maybe that's a little different. But I literally have been asked in interviews, what is your personal headline? And you don't want to be caught in that situation, not able to actually say something. You look like an idiot. It's like, what, you don't even know yourself? Why am I going to trust you with this $10 million budget when you don't know yourself? So that's something to consider. I'll give you a couple examples of great sort of personal positioning statements. Maybe this will help you think about what might be great for you. I'll talk about one of my clients I had recently. So a man came to me, wonderful top salesman for the Tribune, a subsidiary of the Tribune, very interested in getting a spot working for the Chicago 2016 Olympic bid in sales, if we get it, we'll see. But he came to me sort of in advance of this opportunity and really wanted to create a great resume and a great presence for himself to prepare himself for this situation and just, get a head start on everybody else who's going to want jobs there. So we sat down and we really thought, what is it about this man that would make him great, and what can we put on his resume that's going to be sort of attention-getting that people are going to remember? So the phrase that we came up with is creating value to link iconic sports properties with brands and their consumers. So it's a little obvious, but there's a couple really rich words in there that make you think that this man really knows what he's talking about. So it's iconic sports properties, which are actually some buzzwords in his industry. And the value he does is he actually connects sports, brands, and consumers, which is how money is made. So that's actually something that worked for him. That one's a little bit more dry. He wanted to stay a little bit more traditional in his personal branding statement, which is fine. He's, is kind of a little bit more serious as a salesman. A little bit more of a creative example is this. I was working with a woman who, y'all know Second Life? You know what I'm talking about? It's a computer, sort of online virtual world, #1 virtual world in the world. All right, it's big. So I actually did the resume for one of the head engineers for Second Life, and she was looking for a different job. And we talked a long time about what is it about her that makes her great at what she does. She is great at what she does. She basically built Second Life from the ground up. Amazing accomplishment. But how does that relate to what other jobs she's going to have moving forward? So really when it came down to it, I kept asking her, well, why does this matter? Why do I care about this? What are the skills that you have that are really going to be different? And the phrase we came up with and the insight we came up with is that she had this unique ability to be both sort of a geek, her words. She was a geek, but she also was an executive leader. And she had this awesome ability to communicate both with sort of the workers that were going to be doing all this wonderful coding, and also management teams. So sort of a bridge. But instead of using literally on the resume, bridge between, communicating between the diverse departments or something like this, no one's going to remember that. We actually came up with a phrase that's eye-popping. And the phrase we came up with, and it was actually the first words on her resume after her name, was leader among geeks. We literally used that phrase. And actually she got like 20 interviews and had a job for a couple months now. And for her, it worked. That also spoke to her personality. She would be somebody who would actually say something like that. So it worked for her very well, both because it was creative, it was unique, it spoke to her strengths, and it showed her personal side a little bit, which actually really helped differentiate her in the market. Last one I'll tell you about is I worked with another woman who was a private wealth manager. a lot of people in finance are looking for jobs right now. And for her, we actually wound up focusing on a very functional skill for her. When you looked at sort of the market, the number one trait, believe it or not, as sort of unsexy as it is, that people wanted to see in her role, she was in sales for private wealth management, was unbelievable PowerPoint skills. That's it. That was sort of the golden nugget, PowerPoint skills. That's really, really, really what she had to have. And so I was like, you know what? Why hide from that? Let's really trumpet that sort of skill and put that out there. And so on her resume, one of the key things that was said in her summary was she is the queen of PowerPoint. Really, really good at PowerPoint. And that got the point across. And somebody who's looking for that skill set, she is going to get that job over anyone else because she's very clear about her competitive advantage. So those are a couple examples, ranging from, a little bit more serious, a little corporate, to a little more zany, to, actually really functional based. You can't be afraid to put yourself out and claim your territory. Make sure you do that. That's the way you're going to move forward. Knowing this, sort of what you're going to do and sort of what's your point of difference is leading into the final stage of the line, which is building your resume. A lot of people skip all that stuff I just talked about and just go right to the resume. As soon as they get laid off or they're looking for a job or applying to school, so they won't do their homework, they won't do their background, and they'll just do their resume as a mistake. Because basically the entire resume is going to wind up being a much more crystallized document. It's going to be much more differentiating. It's going to be a very powerful marketing tool, because that's what it is. For you, if you actually know what you're trying to say, and you know that's a powerful insight that you're trying to communicate, that's going to be, again, your personal brand, differentiating and consistent across your career. Of course, something that employers or whomever you're trying to talk to is going to want.